We got some news to get into on this Monday morning, boys. We got some stuff to talk about with 12.0.7, also some things with the current game going on, a little bit of statistics on the current run rate of Mythic Plus and just overall general participation in the game as people prepare themselves for the June 16th launch of 12.0.7. That's right, boys. Let's just dive straight in here. As I said before, June 16th was announced just last week as the official go-live date of 12.0.7. But if you've been watching any sort of Samiccus content, you would have known that date long ago. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, I told you guys that was going to be the date. Do I keep patting myself on the dick about that one? Of course I do. It was a great freaking call on my part, and I will continue to tell you guys how right I was about calling that one. So excited for it for sure. For travel, Val and Najatar, that's right. We're going back to these new zones, I would guess you would say. They're kind of bigger than the old ones. If you played Legion, you'd recognize these zones. But essentially, we're going back to them in Heroic World Tier and everything else. We know all this stuff. There's actually a change, though, that Blizzard implemented over the weekend with 12.0.7 that's going to change how you kind of play through these zones. So we'll talk about that in a second. If you're a classic Andy, congratulations. You've made it to Siege of Orgrimmar once again in Mists of Pandaria, which means the Siege of Orgrimmar raid is now live. That's right, the longest raid in the history of WoW is back once again for you to play through. Congratulations. Garrosh does nothing wrong, of course, throughout the entirety of the raid, so don't be too harsh on him. After that, guys, soaring through the Turbulent Timeways. That's right. We know the Turbulent Timeways event will be kicking off on June 30th to August 11th. Circle that date on your calendars, boys. That's probably when Season 2 is going to kick off. I'm just saying, I've called things so far. Why don't you just continue to believe in me? August 11th? Potentially the Season 2 launch date. So this is where we're going to be playing right now. Anyways, Dragonflight also joining the rotation of Time Walking Dungeons for the Turbulent Timeways event. Playing through 4 weeks, getting the achievement 4 weeks of the Timeways time buff or whatever it's called. You'll be able to get this beautiful looking mount, of course. And then the AWC and MDI finals are here. That's right. From June 5th to the 14th on Twitch and YouTube, you'll be able to watch the finals of both of these tournament runs. If you're looking for me, I won't be there. I pulled myself out of these tournaments a long time ago as a man of the people. I just didn't think it was right for me to continue to dominate the people. You know, it doesn't make sense. It's off-brand. So I decided to not do this shit. But, man, Season 2 and 3, you know, Arena Champion and everything else, Gladiator, of course. But those days are long behind me in Arena. So, anyways, moving on. Get your Abyssal Anger cosmetics. That's right, guys. If you have done this, a lot of people haven't. If you remember, there was this fishing event that went live with this patch, and I think just a lot of people haven't really gotten into it. But anyways, people who haven't played through it or want to currently kind of catch up on this, here's a little tip for you that people have been using to really get all the cosmetics, because that's really what anybody who's doing this event really wants out of it. So it turns out these angler pearls are what you use to purchase the cosmetics right now through this fishing event. And the best way to gather up as many of these angler pearls as you could possibly get per fishing run with the maximum efficiency is actually going for these little treasure boxes right here. These sunken relics actually give you 500 points each. You need 2,000 points to really maximize the amount of angler pearls you get per dive. Anything beyond that really doesn't get, it's got diminishing returns. So the best thing to do with these diving events is go down, collect 4 of these little treasure chests, and then end your fishing run. Basically locking yourself in at those 2,000 and maximizing the amount of pearls you can get. Essentially, you can do this in about a minute, finding 4 of these things. So that's the best way to do it. That'll basically kind of speed run you through the cosmetics and stuff. If you're interested in the achievements, this is not a good way to do it. You're not going to really unlock any achievements by doing this. But what you will do is gather up a bunch of these angler pearls and then be able to purchase all the cosmetics from the event. So there you go. If anyone wants to do it. Imagine there was a mount. I know. It's what we all said. They should have made, this is a big missed opportunity. Blizzard should have made some kind of cool mount if they really wanted people to play through this Angler's Abyssal event. But anyways, this is what you can do if you want to get into that and get those cosmetics. Speaking of cosmetics, or I should say cosmetics for your home. That's right, decor items, and for all you decor whores out there, this Iron Dragon Maw Gate might be one of the more rare decor items you see in the game. The reason is this is tied to a PvP achievement where you essentially need to play get the Masters of the Twin Peaks achievement. This is obviously done by playing the Twin Peaks Battleground and capturing or returning 8 flags, okay? probably the easiest way to do this is to capture 1 flag and then return 7 flags in a single run. Okay, this isn't a single PvP match event. The problem is Blizzard put in a fix not too long ago that really shortens the amount of time Twin Peaks is up. So basically the matches themselves are much shorter now, meaning it's much harder to have 8 flag events occur in a single match, let alone all 8 flag events occur through a single person. So this is a pretty tough one. For anybody who's into PvP, maybe you could still try to get this done, but as I said before, right now this has become nearly impossible. I think because Blizzard shortened the Twin Peaks events, you really need to kind of shrink this achievement down. Basically make it 5 or 6 events happening in a single PvP match rather than 8 flag events, which does seems like a pretty tough one. But anyways, Master of the Twin Peaks, if you walk into somebody's house and you see this iron, give them a little pat on the back because that's a rarity right now in the game. Moving on to something real important here, the 12.0.7 PTR, Blizzard put in a change, actually. This thing's going live in about a week, and we're still seeing changes occurring on the PTR. The change actually affects access to the new Heroic World tier. That's right. So previously, to unlock Heroic World tier for your new Val and Nagital zones, you had to kill the world boss in the previous tier. So for normal, you'd have to kill the normal world boss to unlock Heroic World tier. If they ever had a Myth Track tier, would have worked the same way. You got to kill the Heroic boss to unlock Myth. Blizzard's essentially taken out that from the game. That doesn't exist anymore. The requirement to kill the boss to move on to the higher world tier is no longer a thing. Basically, if you've got level 90s, you've unlocked the ability to play Heroic World tier. So if you want to give it a try, you can. There is a suggested item level. I think it's like 270 something to go to Heroic World tier. Beliar's got a whole video about how difficult it actually is. So it is difficult to do. If you're just going to dive straight in and think you can just dominate that thing, you're probably going to think again. But I think it's a good thing. Blizzard's dropped another barrier to entry into another piece of content. So there you go. You're not going to have to play through normal. If you guys want to jump into Heroic World tier, day 1 of patch 12.0.7, you will now have the opportunity to do so thanks to this change. Moving on to some interesting numbers. That's right, we got Mythic Plus numbers, guys, and participation rates, and it's down. That's right, a 13.6 drop-off last week. Blizzard, you know, typically you drop crests, or you drop the crest requirement, I should say crest threshold, or cap that you can have in a single week. That's gone now. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't bring a bunch of people back. At least right now, people are still dropping off. Now, you might say, oh my god, is the game dead? Well, no, you know, Midnight Season 1 is still the most popular season when compared to the War Within seasons. So it's still doing just fine in terms of where it currently stands. You can see this blue line right here. This is without China. These are the numbers we really consider. With China, it's a little bit tougher because China, remember, lost WoW for a long time, and they got it back towards the end of Dragonflight. So the War Within was a pretty popular expansion for them. So it's a bit weird to look at this one because they were like crack addicts dying for WoW to come back. So when they did, they changed the numbers a lot. But anyways, looking just for the NA servers and EU servers, basically you have the War Within Season 1 still, or I should say Midnight Season 1 still doing better than any of the War Within seasons, which is good to see here. In terms of what it means, there was no pickup really for the crest removal or crest cap removal happening. I think it just has to do with the current mechanics in the game right now to gear out. I think everybody's pretty geared right now with the bonus rolls and everything else that's in the game. Tons of ways to earn crests previously outside of Mythic Plus that weren't previously available. So nobody really needs to run Mythic Plus if they want crests. I mean, you can go do what's it called? The different ritual sites. You can go do delves. There's plenty of ways to earn crests right now outside of the Mythic Plus runs. So right now, the numbers are down, but they're still healthy, and that's good to see. In terms of overall runs through, you know, everything that's going on in these different dungeons, it's still the same. But they are geared as... Are they as geared as King Juliet? No, of course not. Pit of Sauron, still your #1 dungeon here. Not much has changed. And Myasara Cavern, still your least run dungeon. Yeah, this is pretty much stabilized. The good thing is, honestly, all these dungeons aren't hard to do. I think overall this season's a pretty easy season. I just did Myasara Caverns for the first time on a +10. Easy. I just literally walked in the dungeon, never been in there, besides Dragonflight, obviously, and just dominated it. Now, I know I'm a pro player, so you know, results may vary. But I will say, overall, I would say this season pretty much is an easy season. If anyone actually wants to get into it, you're trying Mythic Plus for the first time, this is a good time to get into it for sure. I like Nexus. Well, I think, you know, Nexus is pretty mid. I think a lot of people like Nexus. I actually liked Windrunner Spire. Even the other day, what did we do? Was it I think Magistrate Terrace looks really cool when you're running it. And Skyreach. Skyreach wasn't bad at all. It's a pretty popular one for sure. So I think a lot of people feel that way. I'd even think MySR was bad, honestly. MySR is not that bad. It's just a lot of people were breaking it early on and kind of stayed away from it after that. But Blizzard has nerfed it a couple times, so it's much easier than it was previously. Looking at the number of keys in terms of item level run and everything else, yes, the little wave here keeps pushing deeper and deeper as people prep themselves to be the top 1%, right? That's one thing that exists. Plus the new, what was it, 3,500 achievement for IO. That's a new thing that's pushing these keys up higher. Plus 24, still the highest key run right now in terms of the level of key. Plus 24s are being completed. About a 60% rate on those. Obviously, that's the lowest on this chart right now. But 60% is pretty bad. Over half of the runs being pushed at 24 are being completed. Nobody's attempted a 25 yet, so we'll see how that goes. But overall, I would say the conclusion here is the numbers are still healthy. Numbers are still healthy. It's looking good. And we'll keep seeing probably the same going forward. And an easy season overall, I would say. That's another thing you can gather from a lot of these numbers. Finally, if you haven't blown all your money on freaking gas at this point, right, for your vehicle, freaking $5 at the pump here, and like over $5 now here in Michigan. I don't know what everyone else is, but I hate to see what it looks like in California. But anyways, I digress. If you got a little bit of extra money besides your gas money, maybe you can afford some cool World of Warcraft collectibles. That's right, Fnatic has launched a new line of World of Warcraft collectibles, and guys, some of these are really cool, actually. This is prepare for your nostalgia boners to be in full force right now, because these are really cool. A CD-ROM replica, that's right, for those of you who are not new to the World of Warcraft land, you remember these CDs, yes, back in the land of CDs. They have a collector's box, essentially, with a cool, I think this is made of bronze, is it, or something? Brass, I should say, brass-plated CD-ROM. This thing looks really cool. Comes with a collector's box. Only 5,000 of these will be made with the official launch date of World of Warcraft on here. Yeah, this is pretty cool. For $35, honestly, that's not too bad. I mean, I would expect something like this to be a bit more expensive, so this is pretty good here. Inflation, I guess, hasn't affected a WoW memorabilia yet. For $23, you can get yourself basically what was the front cover of the original WoW box here. I think this one right here, is this one bronze, or is this one also like a different finish on this? Night Elf showing, display stand coming with this thing as well. Finished in antique gold plated. So this one's gold, actually. So this is pretty cool. For $23, you can get yourself a nice little cover. The center right here, the Night Elf is colored, the World of Warcraft logo. You got the dwarf, obviously, right there. This is pretty cool. I'm struggling at the moment with Blizz. A lot of really good, really not good players. I mean, look, players are going to vary. Just kind of results may vary all the time. We have a lithogram set as well available here. A nice little maps here, lithograms. We got Pandaria, it looks like Kalimdor, Islands of Astaroth, Eastern Kingdom, and then Northrend up here. These look really cool as well. Nice details on a lot of these things. If you're a map collector, you could probably frame these, put them up somewhere. It comes with a little book as well. For $35, you can get this one. We have a little picture here, Sylvanas and Anduin. This is from BFA. A nice print here for $23. And then you got the Dreadlord himself. He always needs to be involved here. Pepe the Dreadlord, that's right. $12 little pin badge. We got a $10 Murloc keychain and a $17 bottle opener of the Blood Elf shield. That's right. So some relatively not too expensive items. I know everything feels expensive right now, but if you're interested, you can go ahead and go to their website here. I'll link this in the chat and down below if anyone wants to actually purchase it. I'm not sponsored by this. I don't get anything out of it. You want to buy some G Fuel, I'll get something out of that. Use code Samiccus at checkout. But for today, looking through all the news, good news, I think, honestly, on the front of these heroic world tiers and everything. I think this is a much more improved. You release the barriers. Don't put up any barriers to entry. Let people get in if they want to try this thing out. I think this is a good thing from Blizzard for sure. And for today, that is all in terms of news.